talking obviously with like the, I guess, left wing Twitch. There's a lot of obviously negatives surrounding, like there's a lot of criticism that often gets thrown at it. What do you think that left wing Twitch? What's a better way? Is it just, do we just say LeftTube, or is there?
I don't fucking know anymore, dude.
RightTube, LeftTube.
Like, I don't know. The surfs were trying to popularize Butterhorse, but that just sounds cringe as fuck. So yeah. I don't know. Yeah, just lefties on Twitch, or leftist Twitch, or I don't know. LeftTwitch. I don't know.
Sure. Let's just say that. Let's just say LeftTwitch.
LeftTwitch. Yeah.
LeftTwitch. What do you think that LeftTwitch does well?
Does well. I think that there are certain people within the quote unquote LeftTwitch that are very, very interesting, very good at creating communities, very compelling, that also make like very compelling content. People that come to mind are like Cyberwitch Lexi, Eva Una Love, stuff like that. They're able to like garner very very inclusive communities that are focused more on coalition building and like are centered around like the message of leftism, as opposed to like just the aesthetics of like being a leftist, and stuff like that, which I find like very, very compelling. I think that that's something I personally admire. Yeah. So yeah.
So then what would you say would be the, I guess from there, because you sort of touched on that, what would you think is LeftTube? What do you think LeftTwitch his goal should be? Is there a main goal for it? Yeah.
I'm honestly not comfortable saying. I think that I used to have this idea that like if you're doing leftist content, it should be for, it should be for spreading the message and getting people on your side and blah blah blah. But like, honestly, the more I do this shit, and the deeper I get into like political memes on Twitch and like just as a content creator in general, the more I really have come to realize I do this shit for mostly selfish reasons. I don't ever claim to do this shit for like altruistic reasons. I'm not going to pretend that I'm sitting here streaming on Twitch to enact some fucking socialist revolution. Ultimately, I'm not a revolutionary, and neither are any of the fucking LARPers that ask for that shit of their content creators. So I don't know. I think that it should be, if you're a leftist on Twitch and you're doing political content, or even if you're not, your content should be whatever you want it to be, and your community should be whatever you want it to be as well. And I think that as long as you're not out there making or like giving leftists a bad reputation, or like putting across like the wrong message, I guess, then I have very little reason to like criticize you. Like do you, boo.
Yeah.
I think Eva Una Love puts it very, very well when she talks about, or they rather talk about diversity of tactics. And like it doesn't really do me much good to like go and like shit on the way that other people do leftism on Twitch, when we can all kind of like do it our own way and garner our own communities and stuff like that, so yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you sort of briefly mentioned about how this level of like larpiness with certain people, in terms of how they sort of envision the socialist revolution, or what you want to call it. Now there's also been a criticism levied against I guess further left politics as well, about being too idealistic, I should say. That it's almost, when you sort of start talking about like socialism and communism and stuff like that, it becomes more necessarily like a debating sort of fiction almost. Do you think that's like a fair criticism to make?
I think I think it is a fair criticism to a degree. I think that leftists have it hard because we have to advocate for something that is that is basically an alternative to capitalism, an alternative to the status quo, to something that we've all been conditioned under. We all know what capitalism looks like because we live in it day to day, right? We have no idea what a socialist society would look like or a communist society would look like. We have to create that idea before we enact it, right? And I think that it's very silly to think that we can ever enact a revolution when most people let alone like most of the like people I talk to on Twitch that are into politics from a left side or from a lefty perspective, let alone them, but also like the country as a whole, right? Like I don't think that people really have the vision for what a social like a socialist society or a communist society would look like, you know? This is why I really fucking hate when there are people on the left or people that are leftists that are fucking like Rose Twitter or whatever, like these internet LARPers that like basically scoff at the idea of progressivism. They scoff at the idea of like incremental change. They like anytime that you advocate for practicality or anything like that in politics, they kind of like just want to write you off as a lib and don't really take you very serious. I have a big problem with those people because I think that the only way that we really can move towards a socialist society is by taking a more pragmatic view of what revolution could be. I don't think that revolution is necessarily hauling out the guillotines and putting up, landlords up against the wall or something like that, like, or memeing about on Twitter how Mao was right or something like that. Like, right? Like, that's not how we get the revolution. We have to get it by changing people's ideas and making incremental changes in society, one step at a time, Yeah.